Hello guys, welcome back to Custom Gamer. My name is Daz and this is the show where we talk about level design while playing cool maps. Today we've got a new Quake release to have a look at. It's called Something Wicked This Way Comes by Tronyn, Tyrann, oh my god, Quake mapper names guys. You'll have to have a look how it's spelt in the video description. And Necros. Now that's a lot of mappers for a single map, and basically this map was created using scraps of various of this said mapper's works, kind of combined together by Tronyn. Now this map's quite interesting from a technical point of view. It uses a new BSP format called BSP2, and what this means is that the levels can be absolutely huge, lots of detail can be used. There's all kind of limits in the original BSP format for Quake that have just been utterly smashed with this new format, so this level as a result is ridiculously huge. It's got around 30 secrets, it's got 690 enemies on hard difficulty, which is just, I think that's just the largest amount of enemies I've ever seen in a Quake map ever, and some of the spaces in it are just utterly ridiculously huge. And it's a lot of fun to play, which is great. Now of course with this new format means you do need a new custom Quake engine to run it. There are two Quake engines that currently work with it. The best I've found is called RMQ. The link to this engine that you'll need is in the description below this video. When you go to the site you want to download version 3714. At the time of this video going out it's the second from the top. This is because the newest version has a bug with grenades in it where they fall through the world, which kind of duds a lot of the ogres in this map, which is a shame. So you want to grab version 3714, as that doesn't have the grenade bug in it. Now there are a couple of commands that you may want to set before you play this map in this new engine, because it has a couple of eye candy things, and I'm a bit of a Quake purist, so I like my Quake to look like Quake and not some kind of crazy thing. So if you check the description below this video you'll see 4 render commands which you can add to your config to play this map. Basically just makes the engine look like standard Quake, or if you're not really bothered about that kind of stuff you can just leave it alone. It's just things like coloured lights and, you know, light halos around rockets and things like that. I suppose it's a bit nitpicky. Alright, let's get into the game and have a look. Okay, so this is the start map, which is in itself the size of an extremely large standard Quake map. This area is probably equivalent in size to the entirety of the Marcher Fortress by Kin, which is probably one of the largest Quake single player maps that springs to mind on the standard BSP format, of course. And this intro map reminds me a lot of the original Unreal, which came out, when was that, 1997? I think 97? 98? Man, so long ago. But yeah, it's got a real Unreal vibe, this start map. I think even some of the ambient sounds may have been lifted from Unreal as well, that might be what's doing it. So you've got these kind of stones here that you can read. Sorry for the small text on the screen. This engine doesn't support making the center print text any larger, unfortunately. I did have a route around in the engine, but it seems to be no way to do it. This is quite an involved start map. There's a little bit of exploration you can do. There's a couple of secrets you can find. I think I've found 2 out of 3 of them. That plaque on the wall there telling you to take a leap of faith is interesting. We'll come back to that later on. There's one of the secrets. I've obviously missed an earlier secret, but I have no idea where that might be. wasn't really quite sure what was going on here. The game doesn't really do a good job of expressing what that structure is for, what it's about. I wouldn't want to find all the secrets for you guys, and I certainly don't in this playthrough. So this is quite a nice showpiece for the new BSP format. It's just the scale is something you don't really see in Quake ever. Now I'm not quite sure who built this start map, but it looks like it's got some Tronyn style architecture in it. These kind of giant towers here look very Tronyn styled to me. These are all the different skill selects. Easy and normal? I don't think so. Yeah, I thought I'd play it on hard for you guys just to show the insane amount of monsters on this difficulty level. I don't normally play Nightmare because it does some strange things with the enemies. It makes them fire faster and things like that. I think it ruins a bit of the gameplay for me, at least. Doesn't quite feel right. So here's that leap of faith that they were talking about. And there's the Nightmare skill entrance. You kind of notice this because you've got the kind of air bubbles floating on either side of the wall, just to give a bit of a hint that there might be something there. And there was another plaque in the level saying check below the demon's face or something for a secret, so there's that. So that's the start map. Again, there's a couple of rendering bugs here, but again it's because this is an experimental version of the engine, so I'm sure once some stable releases are out, these kind of bugs will be fixed. Let's go and have a look at the main map. Okay, so this series of maps uses the Drake mod by PM, which is essentially it's similar to the Quoth mod in that it adds some new weapons, power-ups, enemies, all kinds of, you know, various entities that help mappers add more variety to their maps, things like that. Drake mod actually adds a lot of new weapons, most of which are present in this level. Some of them are better than others, some of them just seem utterly useless, but most of them for the most part are good. There's also some modifications to the standard arsenal. For instance, the standard shotgun actually fires a double shot when you shoot it, so it essentially does the super shotgun damage, and the super shotgun, it's either 3 or 4 shots worth of buckshot, so essentially both shotguns have been doubled in power. And there's a nice new meaty sound on the super shotgun as well, which is great. Feels very satisfying to use. The super nail gun has been enhanced. It's got a faster rate of fire, but it's slightly less accurate as a result. Talk about some of the other weapons as we get to them. So again, you've got this gigantic scale of the levels. There's this is just one large area. There's like 2 or 3 more that we can explore on our way through. Now, one of the biggest problems when you've got huge levels like this, with all these kind of multi-leveled atriums and all these side areas, all these secrets, is that it's very, very easy to get players lost, or situations where, for instance, if a player misses a jump, falls down into a lower part of the level, it could take them absolutely ages to find their way back up again. It just leads to a lot of frustration on players' part, and, you know, rage quitting and all this kind of stuff. And for the most part, this level avoids a lot of these problems by just some very clever use of kind of guiding players around. And there's a lot of tricks they use actually. There's a lot of spawning in of new enemies along old routes to get get players to follow those routes. And there's a lot of very clever layout choices which kind of just guide players around. Another mechanic you notice, a lot of these kind of giant blue arrows on the walls kind of show you around the place. There's yet more mechanics later on in the level we'll see where you can open up teleporters that let you get back up to the top of certain areas if you fall down. These are all really, really important mechanics, and they're used really, really well in this map. For the most part, it does a really, really good job of leading you around so you don't get too lost. The layout itself is still supremely complex, but it's never annoyingly so. Generally, the kind of feeling this level gives is that the higher you get, there's a kind of denotation of progress. The end of the level is happens on the highest point. So as you can see now, we're on the ground floor, so we have to work out how to get up. So these Axemen are obviously new enemies. I've seen them in a couple of other mods before. They're generally very cool enemies. You want to try and keep them at medium range. At close range, their axes do a lot of damage, and at long range, their throwing axes tend to hit you a lot. Medium seems to be the sweet spot. I've got to say, I really like the idea of beefing up both the shotguns. One of the most tedious things that happens in Quake maps is that you get the kind of shotgun sniping, I like to call it, where you just pop round a corner, unload a shotgun shell, then pop back, or just shoot things at long range when they can't get to you. The increased shotgun power just kind of, it reduces the amount of shotgun sniping you have to do, and makes the shotguns feel a hell of a lot more worthwhile as well. Actually very viable weapons to use all the time. These archers are the kind of typical cannon fodder enemy, rather than grunts in the kind of technology themed maps. You get archers here. But they're pretty nicely done. You can dodge their arrows very easily. In fact, they're very similar to standard kind of grunts in Quake. What's this? A secret behind a waterfall? Surely not. Every game I play, if there's a waterfall, I run up to it. Every single time without fail. And most of the time there is a secret behind it. Interesting use of zombies here, in that you can't actually kill them yet. I always like this when this happens. It's used sparingly. It's nice having obstacles in maps where you can't take them out at first. You have to perhaps gain a new ability or get a weapon before you can deal with the threat. Just makes things a little bit more interesting. It's a nice mix of ranged and melee enemies in this room. Keeps you moving all the time, nowhere's really safe. first time you kill a ogre, you can grab his chainsaw. Chainsaw's actually a great way to deal with zombies, although it's fairly slow, but you can jib them one at a time. You'll notice there's a couple of buttons on the floor here that I've pressed, and that activates teleporters back down in the bottom in the water, so you can get back up here quickly. You'll see later on I use this quite a lot to get around the level, and it's a really handy mechanic. I think that's one of the most interesting things to look at from a level design perspective in this level, is just all the different mechanics in place to just aid player navigation, as the level is just so huge. Alright, so now we can go in the castle front gate. It sounds like a terrible plan, but I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun. Honestly, most of the trouble I had with navigating the map in this playthrough is that I just have to explore every single little corner, and normally that takes me off the kind of critical path, even though there tends to be nothing there. It's a problem I have in practically every game or map I play. I just tend to explore every single little crevice in the map and end up forgetting where I'm meant to be going as a result. So these guys are another new enemy. If you played the Nahara mod, which was released in 2002, I think? It was a fair while ago, but it's probably one of the biggest mods ever released for Quake, I think. If you haven't played it, I certainly recommend it. I'll have to do a video on it on some time, actually. It's very impressive. But that kind of giant knight I was fighting was from that mod. Got the droll from Quoth there. So you may recognise this area. Down below is the water area where we first started out in the map. Now that we've opened these doors here, we can. This again, it's just another shortcut back up to a higher part in the level. You probably recognise where we are now. And this is just a consistent theme through the map. So you're constantly opening up shortcuts that get you back to a higher position. As that's where all the progression is in this map, it's all vertical. So here you'll notice I've activated an elevator. Again, it's another way of getting back up to this area from down below. Hooray for shotgun sniping. Yeah, so if I've been paying attention, as soon as you hit this button I just walked over, this door opens and the Hell Knight should just spot you instantly. That's a great way of, if you're ever designing part of a map, a great way to get the player to notice something is to like have a door open and have a monster behind it that activates when the door opens. As it, you know, it makes a sound, it makes a song and dance about its appearance, and it catches the player's attention to look at where that noise and is coming from. That's another trick that's used a lot in this map. So this is a new grenade launcher variant, although if you ask me what it's for, I could not tell you. It just fires this crazy drunken missile, and I have no idea what the point of this weapon is. I mean, it doesn't have the indirect fire capability of the grenade launcher, it doesn't have the long range accuracy of a rocket launcher. So, yeah, I have no idea. Unless I'm missing something special about it, it just seems utterly useless. That's the silver key door, so in part 2 we'll carry on and find the silver key.